Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting, tea-filled episode of Villa Birds with your two most wonderful, most stupendous, most
You love
luxurious
to do
hosts,
this.
Anika and Val,
Luxurious.
and Val and
That's
Anika.
true. Hi.
Before we dive in, though, I have some announcements.
Ooh.
Number one, you guys, our Twitter is popping. When I'm telling you that Val and I live tweet, I am telling you we live tweet, you guys. We are on fire. We cannot be stopped. The second thing I wanted to say, well, first of all, Twitter at VillaBirdsPod. Second of all, Instagram at VillaBirds. The update last time on our Instagram was that creepy Indian men have been asking Val and I for photos. I'm glad to announce that we have moved past that and we've got some British followers. So,
Yes.
hello to our lovely Brits. You're
Yes.
listening to two American girls talk about your country and your
Yeah,
show.
don't hate on us because I think we are being very respectful of the British peoples. But it's so funny because, you know, follow us at Villa Birds on Instagram. We have a great time. But recently I posted a poll, a bunch of polls actually, talking about predictions and whatever. And this one character named Gemma, this one follower named Gemma, only voted on stories about Gemma. And I was like, oh, interesting. Like maybe she's a fan page. Nope. She's just a girl from the UK named Gemma, holding it down for her girl named Gemma on Love Island. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. Gemmas see each other. I love that. I love the support you guys have for each other.
I got in a Twitter fight with this girl over Andrew. By the way, I'm sharing my phone on the screen right now. This little
You know
girl
that's a meme.
who was vicious. Oh, it is?
Yeah, girl.
I didn't know it was me. I thought I was arguing with the 7-year-old.
No. Oh my god, guys, I'm so embarrassed. Please excuse my host. I promise she's young and very youthful. But you just really showed your ass. That is like the
I'm an
Stan
old
Twitter
soul.
image.
I did not know that. I thought it was actually a 7-year-old
I'm
little twit arguing with me about
I'm
Andrew.
fucking dead, dude. I'm dead. You actually aren't allowed to go on the Twitter
I'm an
anymore. You're banned.
okay.
Like it's not for you. It's okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god, wait. I'm so embarrassed. Within the first 5 minutes, I've managed to embarrass myself.
I just really we need to scratch this from the record. We need to keep this low key.
All right.
Just kidding.
Yeah, low key.
Um
All right. Well, that's enough from me for today about the socials then, because I think I need to go back to my senior home over here
oh
in
my god.
Boston.
No,
So,
well, speaking of something very youthful, we forgot to plug the TikTok.
mm.
Every day on TikTok, I've been recapping Love Island the day after it airs, guys. I'm really committed. I went to the nail salon yesterday. If you can't tell, I got little like Barbie nails. Um and I watched the show while this girl was doing my nails, and it was super embarrassing because I felt like it was a little rude. But we saw each other, we spoke Spanish together, we were vibing, and she was like, "Oh my god, I totally get it. Like whatever. Like I love my novelas too. So like I'm pretty serious about those." And I was like, "Okay, okay, okay. As long as you don't think I'm rude." And I tipped her handsomely, but all that to say is I do my best to watch the show every single day so that on TikTok at Villa Birds, you guys are getting an immediate update and recap of what happened in the latest episode. And so, speaking of recaps, let's do a quick little recap. We're not going to delve deep.
All right,
Yeah, we're
recap.
not going to delve quite so deep this time as we haven't talked about 3 episodes. So since we last were on air, we've watched episode 3, episode 4, and episode 5. Okay. So just loosely, at the top of episode 3, we have 2 new girls come into the villa. The both of them go on a date with Liam, which is interesting because I thought that they would send 2 guys to go on the dates with 2 girls, but it's just Liam. They come back Everybody gathers around the fire pit, gets to know them a little bit. They list their top three. None of their top threes include Liam, which is relevant for day 5. um, the both of them are a little shit stirrers. Ekansu is definitely bringing the heat, bringing
Mm-hmm.
the drama. Then on
Who
who
yeah?
yeah. Then on day 4, basically everybody's just getting to know them. Everybody's talking to them. Ekansu is really going in for Davide, which is kind of pushing Gemma off because Gemma really doesn't like Ekansu and really doesn't like that Davide is kind of going in for Ekansu, which pushes Gemma to maybe look in Luca's direction. And then we find out Luca has always liked Gemma and is who he would have liked to couple up with had they paired themselves up at the beginning of the show. Very interesting, okay? We also play a
Mm-hmm.
drinking game. Tensions flare. Uh, people are kissing not their couples. Uh, Andrew and Tasha kind of, you know, lock things down, are a little more open with each other. And then at the end of the night, or maybe it's the next day, we find out that there's gonna be a recoupling on the night of day 5, okay? And so we're gonna jump into that right now. All the good, juicy stuff right now. Thoughts before we do that?
I'm excited to get into this juicy stuff. You know, it's summertime. I love me some juicy fruits. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so I was thinking we could get started in order of irrelevance. Order of most to least, no, least to most drama.
Drama.
Okay, so would you agree that Akena and India are kind of the least drama?
I will say one thing about Ikenna in India.
Hmm.
First of all, I don't know if he likes her.
I can't
He's
tell.
saying like, I want to be friends. Like, I want her to be one of the boys first. And I totally get that. I'm here. I'm like the stand up person right now for ensuring that friendships are taken seriously, and that is the foundation before you pursue anything else.
Yeah.
But it kind of, I don't know, like when Ikenna and India were laying together, and he was like, "Oh, like my arm's falling asleep," and India was like so sweet to him. She was like trying to make him feel better, and he was just being a little bit of like a brat. I just got really turned off from him. Um, Also, quick side note. I don't know if you, of course you did. You caught when Ikenna was like, "Oh, I like Paige." What?
Yeah, that was very sly. Um, I think the last run of episodes kind of had some shocking revelations that maybe the editors didn't think were relevant at the top of the week that have now come out at the bottom of the week. For example, Luca being into Paige or Luca apparently not being into Paige the entire time and being into Gemma the entire
Mm-hmm.
time, and Ikenna being into Paige. I'm like, hello, why was none of this revealed earlier? Because now I feel like I'm confused. And it's interesting because in one of Ikenna and India's chats, where they chat about everything except for themselves, really, India's like, oh yeah, I don't know why Davide is mad about the whole Gemma thing. Like, we all knew he liked Gemma. I'm like, we didn't know. But yeah,
Right. So I don't know what that's about.
I agree that I don't think Ikenna likes India, which is truly a shame. But they barely talk about themselves. They've tried. They've even like called themselves out and be like, yeah, we're always talking about everybody else in the villa, but we're like never talking about us. And I'm like, that's because you guys are friends. It's the first friend couple I feel like of the series. But I think until somebody comes in that either one of them is interested in, they're gonna keep each other safe. Because that kind of brings us into Afia. Afia was really feeling Ikenna, borderline his first pick, or her first pick. I think actually he was her first pick. And she
Her
kind of
only pick
grafted
too, yeah.
him a little more than India did from the jump. and he did not end up recoupling with her at the bottom of episode 5, which I thought was interesting. Just because, I don't know, I figured like he would have gone for somebody who was showing him a little more interest, a little more attention, because I thought that's what was missing for him. But I think he's just waiting in for he's waiting for his dream girl to come in.
I think India has a bigger ass than Afia, and so that's why Ikenna wants to stay with India, because the only thing we know about this man is that he likes him some ass. So
That's true.
that's my 2 cents right there.
Does Paige have an ass?
Yeah, she does. She has a nice body, I think.
Yeah, that's a really nice body, I have to say.
Yeah, I love everything that she's been wearing too. Like, I don't know if we should do like a fashion recap one of these weeks about like, oh my god, what were the best fits, like all this other stuff.
I
But
think
yes, I agree. Ikenna and India, least relevance for now.
I know.
Hopefully,
I want somebody to come in
maybe something will progress.
for India so badly. And we'll get into who the new bombshell is, at the bottom. We've already teased it. But I just know that he's not going to be for India. Based off of a very suspicious history that Love Island has, and also his own personal history that we'll get into.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
So we touched on Afia a little bit, but we'll touch on her a little more. She went on a date with Liam.
Yes.
And then she came back to the house and said that he was not in her top 3, basically. So who was her top 3? Her top 3 was Ikenna. I think Luca.
I think Dami was in there.
Okay, was it Dami?
Yeah, Dami was
and then
in
it was
there.
definitely Andrew was in there too, right? Or no? Or was it Luca?
Stop, really? I don't recall.
Okay, maybe it was Luca. It was Luca because Ekansu was chatting to Andrew a little bit, and she did mention that Andrew looked like her ex-boyfriend. So those are the 3 that she liked. And since we said that Ikenna ended up picking India at the end of the week, what do you think is Afia's future? Because she's a bombshell that hasn't really established herself, and now she was left single at the end of episode 5 along with Paige, which I thought was a very interesting last 2 to be standing there at the end of the night.
I'm not sold on Afia. I think she's really sweet. I find her pretty, but I just don't think that. Maybe we just didn't see enough of her, but based on what we've seen so far, I'm just not feeling it. I don't think she brings anything to the villa, and there's no there's no memorable moments for her yet. I don't know if. Well, we're gonna get into the new bombshell's history here, but I'm not sure if she's gonna be the bombshell's type, unfortunately, as well. So I really think she's at risk of going home.
Yeah, I also think that she is going to be the islander that goes home in the next week. I kind of, no offense to her, but if that's not going to go anywhere, because she's kind of out of options in the villa. Because if Luca was her type, he already was in a love triangle. Now he's gunning for Gemma. Andrew and Tasha seem pretty solid with each other. Dami is very solid with Amber. And Ikenna has made it clear that whatever grafting Afi has done on him is just simply not what he was vibing with. And then with the new bombshell having a history with a certain islander, I just think that it's not gonna factor in Afia. And I think she's gonna end up going home.
Yeah.
And I think that I kind of hope she goes home a little earlier in the week, just so we can get some more girl bombshells, spice it up in the villa,
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. I really thought that she had more of a chance.
Yeah, me too.
To kind of get in there and really go for it, but I had Tasha and Andrew not solidified themselves better, I think Afia could have had a chance with Andrew if she actually tried and went further, but she didn't. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's really on her. But again, like personality wise, like when you compare her bombshell classification versus
Yeah.
Ekin-Su, oh, Ekin-Su killed it.
Hmm.
Like she was there to be the sex pot that she is, rile every single person up. She was like blowing kisses to Luca in the bedroom. She's like cling to Davide. She like was a self-proclaimed wifey material while she's like making breakfast for all
I
the boys in the
know.
house.
I
Like, come
know.
on, that's what you're supposed to do as a
Yeah.
bombshell. Like, remember when Mora got like one of the boys to, like feed
I was
her and
just
like she was, oh
going
my
to
god.
bring in Mora's entrance because lest we forget,
Hmm.
Mora came in with Elma, and we all know
Yeah,
how that went. Unfortunately, I think or Afia is getting the Elma treatment. It's very much she came in with somebody who was ready to get down to brass tacks and fuck it up, and she
right.
was like, "Oh shit, now I
Yep.
have to match her energy," and I don't think that that was the energy she was wanting to bring in. I think maybe she was hoping to be a standalone bombshell, kind of sweetheart bombshell who could come in and find a deep connection with an islander in the house and, you know, then calmly blend into the girls' group once everybody is no longer
Mhm.
threatened.
Yeah, she and you could see too, she was so sweet to the rest of the
Yeah.
girls. Like when Ekin-Su was talking about like, oh, I hope you guys aren't talking about how much of a bitch I am. Like you could see Afia, like for a split second, she was kind of like, damn, this sucks. Like now I have to stick with Ekin-Su because they're all gonna think that I'm not being genuine. And so you can kind of see her being a little iced out that first day that they both were
Yeah.
there. Um, but I agree with you. I think it must have been like a switch up that they paired her with somebody who was so
Fiery.
gung
Yeah.
ho about about finding somebody that she was interested in. But yeah, I don't think Afia's gonna make it by the end of next
No.
week, unfortunately. So let's see by
And
episode
I,
5 if she's
yeah,
actually
I
there or
can't be
not.
mad because at least I can't be mad because at least India is still in the villa. So that's my
Hmm.
girl. Anyways, okay, next on the list we have Tasha and Andrew, and we had quite a bit of drama with Andrew this week.
Oh,
I know.
yes, we do.
So can I just say, I called this man a snake. And you were like, you are feeling it. You are not feeling him at all. You have a really strong reaction towards him, like very quickly into the game. But I have to say, I knew this man was grimy. Like, I knew this man. I knew
Okay,
it.
he's a realtor in Dubai. He's got to be a little slimy. We get it. But the straight up lies? Are you kidding? I could not
I
handle
was
that.
not shocked. I was not shocked in the slightest. When he looked Tasha dead in her face, because okay, let's backtrack. I'm getting a little heated already.
Yes.
So, guys, I just rewatched the clip of what went down. So, to explain,
Mhm.
Tasha and Andrew are coupled up. We know this. They've been coupled up since day one. But Luca has
Yes.
always been interested in Tasha. And also every other white girl in the villa, apparently. Can't make up his mind.
Yeah.
We'll also
Yes.
get into that.
Nope.
But Tasha and him have been having chats. And Andrew has always been open to that. Everybody this season, I feel like, has been more open to open communication about who they're liking, who they fancy, who they're talking to. And so I feel like in this triangle, it has always been peaceful. Peace has reigned upon this land for 3 days until the bottom of day
Yes.
3, when Luca and Andrew are having a boys' chat. And Andrew's like, hey, I just want to let you know it's all good that you're talking to Tasha. And Luca's like, hey, thank you. Yeah, it's a little confusing because I like all 3 of the girls. I mean, and this is our first little hint that Gemma's kind of higher up on his list than he's let us know. But he's like, yeah, like I really like Paige and Gemma. But obviously, Tasha's a beautiful girl, and we talk a lot, and it's just hard because the 3 of them are friends. and they'll talk amongst themselves, so it's hard to go about. And Andrew is just like, yep, totally understand, whatever. Nothing about a top three is brought up. Later, Andrew and Tasha go to lay in Betty, and they're just chatting, and Andrew out of nowhere brings up, yeah, me and Luca were talking about who we like and our top three. And naturally, Tasha's like, oh, am I in his top three? And Andrew's like, looks her dead in her face while smiling, may I add, and kind of snickering, no. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah, no, you're not in his top three. What? So, thoughts so far?
This recap is 100% factually accurate. I knew he was gonna do this like sinister. You could see it in his face. You could see the gears turning in his head.
Yes.
What was this, like, night vision camera?
Yes.
Yeah, you could see it even though we were in the night vision mode. That this man, who looked even more evil when he was doing it, and you could only see the screen in black and white, which I was like cackling about. But yeah, I sat back because I was live tweeting, I think, at
You
this
were.
moment, and I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "Val was right. She knew. She picked it up." Like, so yeah, I do want to mention though that I found it really funny how it got back to Luca that he had told this lie, because the fact that everybody's so open with one another and like actually willing to have these conversations when Tasha was talking with Luca, I thought that was really sweet that they were able to kind of talk about that, and Luca was actually very concerned that that's what she had heard.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't I don't know. I'm still not feeling Luca, Mr. Fishmonger. I'm
We'll get
sorry.
into
I
him. We'll
can't.
get into him. But
We'll get into
let's
him.
finish
But
this.
Tasha and
Yeah,
Andrew.
let's finish the
Yes,
slap.
let's finish
So
this.
obviously it gets back to Luca. Well,
Yes.
first and foremost, Tasha tells Indy and Amber, which I think is really important to note here because, well, to be frank, Andrew said that Tasha was not in Luca's top three. And as we've said before, these boys don't have diverse taste. So when Tasha told Amber and India, oh yeah, Luca said I'm not in his top three, I just know India was like, bitch, come on, really? Like, we've had quite a lack of options, and you're telling me
Right.
you're not in Luca's top three? Because if I'm in Luca's top three, I haven't fucking heard that shit. And like
Right.
it was a moment where, you know, she was clocking Andrew from the jump. I think India like knew that Andrew was slimy and knew that he was lying, and also at the same time was like, bitch, really? Really?
Hmm.
Like, this is your white woman moment. Like, you're not in his top three because this has not
This
been
is
a,
your blonde hair, blue
yeah, she was
eyes
like, this is not, clearly this
moment.
has not been a cakewalk for specifically India, because Amber actually
Right.
very happily hitched off. I'm so happy to report. But India is kind of still
Hmm.
struggling with whether it kind of actually likes her or not, whether they have anything. And it's just like, to have said that to her face, I'm like, girl, no. Obviously, you're in his top three. So then, yeah, like you said, Tasha goes talk to Luca. Luca's concerned about her feelings also because I'm sure, you know, considering the dialogues they'd been having, it must have hurt her feelings to be like, oh,
Yep.
all that conversation and I'm not even in your top three. And then Luca tells Paige, and it's like, ugh, can you believe that like Andrew would even say that like Tasha's not in my top three? Like, come on. And Paige is like, yeah, that's so crazy.
Paige was done so
I
dirty
know.
at this point in time. Like, what was she supposed to say?
Yeah,
I don't
she's
know.
just like,
There's some redemption though. There's some redemption. We'll dig into that in a little bit. But yeah, I that whole situation was so out of pocket in my opinion. It didn't need to happen,
yeah.
and the fact that like Andrew was trying to like sneakily get Tasha away from Luca. Like, just be real, just be
Yeah.
upfront. And he's literally acting like as if he hasn't. I don't know. He was acting like he hadn't done anything
No, well,
too. Like,
so
let's jump into the
yeah.
actual conversation,
So
right? Like,
Luca confronts Andrew, and Andrew's like, "Oh my God,
mhm.
I'm so sorry. I can't believe that even like happened. It was a total mistake. I wasn't even thinking."
Yeah. So he was like, "Oh, no, this is what I was thinking." I was like, "Oh, you're just pre-wired to lie then. Like you're programmed to just not tell the truth cuz
Yeah.
it's he affirmed it. He said Val summed this up perfectly. Andrew literally said to Tasha, "No, period. You are not in his top 3.
Period.
Period." Those are two sentences. After the first sentence, you could have rescinded, but no, he then solidified the fact that no, you are not in his top 3. Like, what kind of gatekeep, gaslight, girl boss type shit is that?
Mhm.
I could not handle it.
Yeah, and I just think he was so to do all that to be such a slime ball. And then when Luca
Mhm.
confronts you, he's like, "It was a mistake. I'm so sorry. I didn't even mean it like that." What the fuck? That was not a mistake. And Luca did put it very bluntly and was
Yeah.
like, "A
Mhm.
mistake is like spilling milk. That was not a
Yeah.
mistake." And yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Andrew doesn't know how to apologize, has never like really been confronted, and so his idea of an apology is just claiming it's a mistake instead of just having the balls to be like, "Yeah, you're right. I like snaked you and I'm sorry. I was just jealous, whatever." Speaking of jealousy though,
Right. Mhm.
well, so let me backtrack. After I'm sorry. Let me backtrack. After Luca and Andrew kind of squash that, I think they just don't want to have drama, so they squash it. Tasha goes and has a conversation with Andrew, and Andrew apologizes if he's made her feel like less than. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll totally forgive you," which had me concerned because I was like, "You cannot sweep this under the rug." But then
You can't, and it's a
it was
red
totally a
flag,
red
and the
flag.
fact that she accepted that kind of behavior makes me very concerned for
But
her.
she did say she wanted to slow things down with him, which
Mhm.
had me hopeful until jealousy kicked in. So everybody played
Mhm.
beer pong on night 4, the night before the recoupling.
Yes.
And Andrew was dared to kiss a girl with wifey material, and he kissed Paige. And Tasha
Yes.
was
Yes.
dared to crawl to the islander she finds the most attractive. So she crawls to Luca. And I don't know, the both of them got really jealous, and then they go have a conversation about how much they actually like each other, and Tasha cries cuz she's like she gets emotional at least.
I was like, why are you falling in love with a man who has lied to you and didn't know how to apologize, and then also kisses another woman for claiming that she's more wifey
I don't
material?
know.
Although he was not wrong. He was not
Yeah.
wrong. In my humble opinion, Paige and India are definitely both wifey
Mhm.
material. They're always to themselves, they're strong, confident women, they're caring about the other islanders, but that's besides the point. But this whole toxicity like dynamic already that
Yeah.
has presented itself within the first week of everybody being there, I just don't see Tasha and Andrew continuing in the long term. And I'm super excited to see, not excited in the way that I don't want to see Tasha get hurt, but excited to see how right you and I are going to be when Andrew is in Casa more, because
Yeah.
there's no way this man is going to be loyal.
Yeah, he is just bad energy all around. And um yeah, I just couldn't believe she was getting emotional and being like, "Clearly I have a good guy in front of me and I don't want to mess it up." I was like, "You don't. You don't have a good guy in front of you. You don't at all." But I think she knows she's secure with him in the house,
Hmm.
and I think she's confusing that security with more of a romantic connection than they actually have. I think they have a physical like attraction that does come very naturally to the both of them, but in terms of a relationship, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. And I don't want to see people think that they're like mom and dad of the house because they're not. And I think it'll crumble really quickly. And Tasha's going to be crying very soon, I think, over Andrew.
I'm ready for like a blowout to happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I definitely think it will. Because Tasha, she does have a very strong personality,
Hmm.
and I'm really surprised that it doesn't come out when Andrew acts up this way. Like I thought she was gonna not like swing, but I thought she was gonna be like, "How dare you make up like such a small lie and for what? Like you're still in my top three. It doesn't matter. Like you should be winning fair and square between you and Luca." And instead, like I don't know. That's just kind of my opinion though. We've already discussed this, you guys.
Yeah.
Like two things already. I cannot stand disrespect and I cannot stand
Liars.
lying, and I just think that both of those things have been crossed here with Andrew, and I have no idea why she would be continuing. I mean, I'm glad she's safe. I'm glad that we're gonna still see her for another week,
Hmm.
but I'm very disturbed at the fact that she's like actively pursuing. Just the tears I think was so funny because you cry like that when you're like in love with someone, and I'm like, oh no, she's trauma bonding or something because she should not be with this person for the
Yeah,
long
it was
term.
very shocking. And something else I do have to point out, and I don't know if you caught this, but just
Mhm.
to continue to point out how little I like Andrew. Um when they were talking about the kiss and being jealous and whatever, he was like, "Oh, I would have understood if you kissed Akenna and Dami, but you kissed Luca." And I was like, "What? What the fuck does that mean? You would have understood if she kissed somebody that you don't consider as like competition to you?
Competition,
But like,
right?
why wouldn't they be competition? Why wouldn't they be competition,
Right.
Andrew? Hmm? Hmm? You just happen to point out them two? Really? I thought that was very strange. I thought that was very indicative of maybe his true nature. And I was like, I just need this man out of the house. And I need Tasha very far away from him. Like, it's just, ugh, I don't like him at all. And I just knew I was going to like him. Also, to add on top of that, he has a weird Miami Vice tropical, like, tree tattoo on his like abdomen.
Yeah.
All right, terrible taste all
Yes.
around. Gross.
Mhm. No, well, first of all, I now that you've mentioned that comment in this way, I completely didn't even see it as a microaggression. I just thought it was more of like, I don't know, like people that he tolerates better than Luca. Like because we all know that Luca's been pushing his buttons and he's intimidated and jealous of
Yeah,
him. I didn't think that it was a microaggression until now, but that is not surprising, unfortunately. But it is a very
because he could have very
important
yeah
thing to
he could have
note.
very easily said
Yeah.
Liam, who unfortunately we all know is definitely not competition in the house.
Oh, for sure,
But
unfortunately. But yeah, I don't know. Let's unfortunately, I don't want to say this, but let's see how much worse Andrew can get as the days progress in the villa. I definitely think the tropical tree, like the palm tree tattoo, is giving him villainous powers for some reason. Like nobody's tattoos on the show are good.
not one. They
Like
never are.
goodbye. They're not good.
Okay,
But
let's move on.
all right, Andrew and Tasha.
That was it. Andrew and
That
Tasha.
is that.
Let's move on to Luca and Paige, which is barely a couple, I think, at this point.
I died when Luca was like, "Oh yeah, we touched ankles in bed last night, so it's going pretty good. I hope next time we can cuddle more."
I don't understand him. I think I don't
Like,
understand him.
goodbye.
I just
I don't. His teeth keep putting me off. I can't look at him because when I do look at him, I just look at his veneers, and that is about it. There's nothing there. He thinks with his like I think Dami was saying this, but he was like he thinks with his head and not his heart. But also Dami, like we know which head he's talking about
yes.
because any girl that
Yes.
provides Luca a shred of attention, Luca's like, that is it. I am set on this girl. Like,
Mhm.
and what did he say? He was like, "Oh, Paige in that like black dress," but then he was like, "Oh, but Tasha looks so good in this bikini today," like all this other stuff. He's not
He's
there
not
for the right
there.
reasons
No.
yet.
Um, I am very willing. Me clears my throat before I make
Mhm.
a embarrassing declaration.
Oh
I am
no.
willing to admit that I am blinded by charisma and beauty with this one. Cause
Stop.
I know. Trust me.
You guys, let me just say this before Val continues to just like dote on this man.
He is
This
not
man
good.
has a tattoo of Albert Einstein on his freaking, what is it,
Uh,
deltoid, whatever
I
that
am
muscle.
aware.
I can't.
It's not worse than the
I
it's not worse
can't.
than the Winston Churchill tattoo that he also has on his forearm.
Yes, he also
Um,
like
I'm aware.
this man, and he's just, I don't know how to
Listen,
even like I am so turned away from this man. Like this fishmonger, Mr. $1,000 on a first date, Mr. I will follow anything that has a pulse and looks mildly pretty. Like
mhm.
goodbye.
No, you're speaking facts. Listen, you got to embarrass yourself with the meme at the top of the episode, and this is how I'm embarrassing myself, okay? I'm blinded 100%. Pretty privilege has definitely kicked in. This man is a dirty dog
Mm.
who can't pick between any of the girls, and I'm still like, he's not bad.
No, he
He
is.
is.
He is
I know
bad.
he is.
He's okay, you know what? Here's the thing. Once he makes up his mind, I think he could be a very nice man.
Exactly.
Like he would be a good doteful boyfriend, and he would make sure that whomever he's with is cared for, and he would still have a wandering eye, which by the way like always gives me the ick, but at least you'd know that he'd treat you right once he's
Hmm.
decided that, okay, yes, I want to settle and pursue with this person.
Yeah, and
So that there's that. I'll
and
give you
that
that.
is kind of what I am looking forward to. I am really hoping that he does show a good side of him because it's there. I mean, I think he has really good relationships with everybody in the villa. Um,
Hmm.
I think everybody generally likes him. He's funny. Um, I feel like him and Dami are kind of like the two like leading men of like the guys. Like I just
Hmm.
think that they have the best energy and the best like, chemistry with everyone in the house. But it's
Agreed.
kind of taking a while to get there. I could see him kind of being like a Jack in a Jack and Danny situation where like obviously Jack and Danny like found each other from
Hmm.
like day one and then they were obviously like,
Right.
our winners, our Love Island winners. And then
Hmm.
at the end of the
Yes.
show we kind of found out Jack wasn't like that good a boyfriend the whole time and he was messy and all this stuff. I could see that kind of happening with Luca. Like he's showing a not so great side of him right now.
Hmm.
Um, and I think if he found like his potential girlfriend in the villa, we could see a really loving boyfriend, like you said. And then once they got out of the
Right.
villa, I could see all the red flags that have already come up with him manifest into them like breaking up in like an explosive way,
Right.
which sucks. I just want men to be better. At the very least, I want men
Right.
to do the bare minimum.
I'm right behind you, supporting you with that statement. I also will say one more thing. Jack and Luca definitely went to the same doctor for their teeth,
Oh,
and I
yes,
will leave it at that.
100%. So hilarious that you say that because they both really have bad veneers. Talk about
Yes.
Luca. We're here to talk about Paige too, who I do
Nope.
feel like he is
Yes, we are.
dogging so bad. Um,
I Paige hasn't tried though. Here's the
she
thing. Like,
hasn't.
I she's not putting down anything. She's not picking up anything. I definitely think that she wants to be the one who's like swept off her feet, which rightfully so. You can have that option, but if you feel like you really have this connection with somebody, then you kind of show it. So I feel like it's not a lose lose situation. Like I genuinely think that this could be good for her because now she can take an opportunity to get a connection with somebody who isn't drooling over multiple women that are your friends
Yeah.
essentially at the end of the day. I really like that she's a girl's girl. She's had a great like what we've been exposed to with Paige so far has been wonderful, and I think that she genuinely is a very kind person who deserves a lot. One thing I did want to say is during the beer pong, I think there were two questions about kiss who you think somebody kiss who you think is like wifey material, and I think she was chosen for both.
Mm-hmm.
So it just goes to show how much the guys do respect her and recognize that she is a very good person, and nobody's really kind of screwed her over either, which has been really, really nice. And I think
Well, she did kind
I'm
of
here
get
for her
screwed over
staying. I think
though
she's gonna
by
stay.
Luca because
But she wasn't really. I just don't think she's into him in the way that we think that she is. Like she just he's an
well,
option for her. She finds him
I
attractive, but
mean
she's not gonna
I mean more
like
so
she's not
that like
losing at the end
he
of the day.
picked Gemma at the recoupling and left Paige to be single when and listen, maybe he would have saved Paige.
But they weren't friends. He would have saved her if she was more
Well,
of a
I
friend.
feel
She
like
would
he does
never
view her as a friend
like.
because he felt comfortable going to her to talk
Mhm.
about like the whole Tasha thing, and they've had a very open communication about like what their agenda is in the house, and it's like at the very least, you know,
But that was her opportunity. That was her opportunity to be like, look, I'm really happy that you're getting to know other people, but I'm going to let you know that I'm not. And going forward, I'll let you do whatever. Just don't come back and discuss it with me. That's how you set boundaries. And I think that's what she didn't do.
yeah.
And that's why Luca was like, okay, she's not as interested in me. Like,
I just think he,
and
yeah,
there's a difference. I just don't. This is again me in this element in this situation. No, if you like somebody and you're on this show, you kind of have to allude to it, or you have to work a little harder to graft,
yeah,
especially when you know that someone that you're with is notoriously known so far for having a wandering eye
yeah.
and will follow anything and anyone that gives him
Well, I
attention,
think
and she wasn't
it's
giving him the attention that
yeah,
he
I think
needed.
it's tricky though because it's funny that you say all that because it's like you want me to give Luca a hard time. I'm gonna give him a hard time right now. We're giving Paige a hard time, but it's tricky
Hmm.
because I do think that Luca tells every girl in the house what she wants to hear, and Paige is aware of that. She has said that
Yeah.
she knows that he knows what a girl likes to hear, and so I do think that she is aware of what's happening, but it's tricky with him because he can't make up his mind. How are you supposed to like track and monitor like what a guy is like actually thinking when he can't make up his mind? And by the end of the week, all of a sudden, he's Gemma's his number one pick and has been his number one pick the entire time. And that definitely was not discussed with Paige um until very late in the
Right.
game. And I don't know what he would have done if Liam hadn't gone home, because if Liam hadn't
Right.
gone home, a girl would have been going home today or last night. And
Right.
I
Yes. Hmm.
maybe he would have thought that Liam would have just saved Paige. I think he just left Paige, to the wolves. He was like, okay, well, I've created connection with her, but it's not friend islands and whatever. So I'm gonna pick Gemma, who I've had 2 conversations with about coupling up. Who I don't even think
Hmm.
that their crack is all there. I think that Gemma's just playing it safe by having him as a backup option in case Davida dips on her for Ekansu. But that being
Yeah.
said,
Hmm.
I feel like he was just like, fuck it, I'm going for Gemma, and if she's left single up there, not my problem. Like, maybe Liam will save her, maybe she'll be saved just by the sheer fact that there are 2 girls left single, so maybe they'll send them on dates. But he just kind of like had no loyalty for a girl that he's been cuddling with every single night, telling her like what she wants to hear and kind of leading her around in a fucking circle.
It was really shitty behavior, and I thought it was not even like a dirty dog moment in the sense of like anything
Mm.
dirty, but just dirty in the sense where she was done so wrong in that moment. But you could see in her face that she wasn't surprised, which I thought was very
Mm.
funny.
Yeah.
Because she literally her face, she like knew it was
Yeah.
coming. I don't know if you've heard this like saying, which is not true to everybody, but it's like men fall in love with what they see and women fall in love with what they hear.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that this was that kind of situation, but the only difference is that Gemma, like she was a lot more like she has a more like I don't want to say seductive personality, but she's like very kind of
Yeah.
mysterious and she's very like alpha. And I think that's something that Luca was drawn to. Aside from the fact that we may or may not find out that Luca knows who Gemma's dad
You
is,
think?
that's a whole other
Wait, when
conversation.
did that
I
come
don't know,
out?
girl. Um, I don't know. It was just something I was reading. Our Twitter is quite filled with a lot of theories from devoted fans like us, and there's a lot of speculation going on about how Luca may or may not know who Gemma's dad is unintentionally, and everybody who does know that knows that if they end up with her, like that's pretty good because they think she's gonna last until the end just because of who her dad is. So
Yeah, we should talk about Gemma and consequently Davide at this point, but let's like stay on
yeah,
Gemma for a second. I don't know
yes,
why they are turning this into the Gemma show. And I feel like they're making a really big mistake because they just focus on her in moments when it's like not relevant. She's kind of been the main cause of like a lot of the drama in the house, but I do think that's like been very intentional by the producers, and now the bombshell is her ex, and I'm just like, I don't know, it didn't feel this forced with Danny. Obviously we know that
hmm
Danny Dwyer's dad is an actor named Danny Dwyer. But it didn't feel
hmm
this forced with her, and maybe that's just because she and Jack got on right from the jump. But
right,
this time around, I'm like, okay, the public isn't really feeling Gemma yet. She's really young. She's in a poor couple with Davide. They have absolutely zero
hmm
crack, and yet somehow,
yep,
they're bringing in. I mean, it's hard to not bring in girls who are going to gun for Davide. I mean, look at him. But they're bringing in girls knowing that they're going to go for Gemma's man, and
hmm
now they're bringing in her ex-boyfriend. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't care about this 19-year-old's drama. I don't.
I don't care either. I just definitely think that it might just be because of who her father is.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't care enough. Like I don't have a strong opinion right now because that's just how much I just don't care about Gemma. I We talked about this last episode.
Yeah.
I find her demeanor very rude and it just completely turns me away from having any interest in seeing how she's going to progress. I'm glad that she didn't go home because she was having a hard time seeing Davide and Ekin-Su together. But at the same time, like it was such a weird thing when she was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm used to seeing older guys. Like I only see older guys." Like, girl, you just turned 19. Like, what do you mean you're used to seeing older
That
guys? It
made
was just
me
such a strange thing
feel
for me to
yeah, that made
hear.
me feel really sad though for her. I just think that in general, this intense focus on her when she's so young, and I feel like she hasn't been able to show maybe like a more positive side to her, is just doing a disservice to her. Like if you guys want her to be popular, you need her to grow in the public's favor on her own. And instead you're putting
Yeah,
her
she's like not funny.
I think she's kind of
She's
funny.
not. There's nothing. No, there's like nothing redeem. The only thing. Okay, I will say this. The only thing where I chortled was when Davide and Ekin-Su were working out, and Gemma was like, "Oh, I gotta go. This is cringe as book."
Yeah,
Gets up and leaves.
but I do think she's funny. I do think she has potential to be a good islander. Like she just calls shit exactly for what it is. Like I could see her being like
hmm
a little baby more in the sense that it's like, "Oh, did you just dog my friend? Yeah, now you're going to hear it from me."
Right.
Because she has that energy. She's very young. She's very like, you know, upfront with how she feels, all that stuff. But she's just not in a good like favorable situation in this villa. And I think that the producers in
hmm
pushing her are just making her more and more unlikable. And I don't think
Yeah.
she's going to leave the villa and have an easy time. And then on top of that, the fact that she said she's dated older men before when she's just turned 19, it makes me sad for
Mhm.
her. Like I don't it makes me wonder, like, you know, I don't, I don't know her dad that well. I don't care. Um but it just makes me sad to think that like maybe her upbringing allowed for her to not be cared for, or like I don't know, to just be let um run wild and act like an adult when she's so young. I mean, I don't want to get into territory where it sounds like I'm victim blaming, because I'm not, but I did see photos of her when she was
Mhm.
15 and she looked very mature, and obviously nobody
Yeah.
should like,
Mhm.
you know, draw any conclusions from that, but I'm like, the fact that she looks so mature that young and was, posing like an adult, and said she's dated like older men before, like older than Davide. I'm just like, it makes me sad. Like it, like almost she didn't have a childhood, maybe because of who her father was, and maybe because of what their home life was like. She just grew up really quickly, and I don't know. I don't think she should
Mhm.
be on the show because it just feeds into that more. Like we're just looking at her
Yeah.
as another contestant in the show who's quote old enough to make these decisions and is like in charge of her sexuality, but really she's so young. She's 19, hasn't really lived life, and is now in a couple with Davide trying to make these really mature decisions. And her competition's a 27-year-old. It's like that cannot be good for anyone's mental state, especially a 19-year-old's.
I Yes, I absolutely agree. I think the age limit should be increased to at least 21.
Yeah.
Um at the youngest, but at the end of the day, like we don't know her background, we don't know her story,
Hmm.
and unfortunately the public isn't as kind and open-minded as you to, come to these conclusions, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. Um with regard to the show though, I'm indifferent about her. I feel bad for her in her coupling, and I do hope that Luca's a better match for her, which I think he is.
Mm,
And I think they both have potential to keep one another on each other's toes, which I think will be fun to see.
true.
But
I do think they'd be a
aside
funny
from that,
couple.
though, I think they will, because here's the thing, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say, and I think we should move on. But Gemma said that she got the ick from Liam yawning, but meanwhile, she's like the meanest morning person
She
ever. Like, can you not?
It's so true.
Like, so I don't know. That was just really funny. So I'm excited to see how they're gonna spend the morning together. Because Luca was like, "Oh, like, do you want me to bring you orange juice?" And like in the morning she's gonna like throw that orange juice right at him because she's not a morning person.
That's so funny.
So
No, yeah, it's true. Well, we do have to stick on her just a little bit longer because we have to talk about the lamest and the deadest date of all time. That was her date with Davide.
oh, see, it was so unmemorable that I just completely even forgot that they went on a date. I was so tuned out. I did not care one
No,
bit.
not at all.
I like died when Davide was like, "Are you thinking about marriage?" Like, Davide, she's
Yeah.
19. I'm pretty sure she's not thinking about marriage right now. Like, also hold your horses. And by hold your horses, I guess Gemma's horses, because there's no way she's gonna give up her
I
career either. Like, are you
know. That was
okay?
so strange. Yeah, I think that they learned on that date, like how many siblings they both have. Okay. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And how many kids she wants to have. Whatever.
Yeah, like what?
Um, but something interesting did happen, and that is that Ekansu came into the mix, okay, and she is gunning for Davide, and that
Mm-hmm.
has left some. That I think that's left a sour taste in Gemma's mouth. I don't think that she likes to be second at all, and I do think that's kind of what pushed her to
Mm-hmm.
be, to kind of pursue Luca a little more, um, especially because Davida was very open to getting to know Ekansu. But then that just led to more drama with Luca. I feel like Luca is also, as much as Gemma, very in the middle of the drama because he had one conversation with and Gemma being like, "Yeah, I'm into you, whatever. We should get to know each other." And Gemma's like, "Oh my god, okay, cool." And then all of a sudden, Davita's storming to Gemma like, "Do you have anything you want to tell me?" Or maybe in a,
That was so
what
toxic.
was
That
that?
was so toxic. I was shocked. He's possessive,
Possessive as
and he
hell.
can go and do whatever he wants. He can go and do whatever he wants. He's like doing squats with like Ekansu on his shoulders and shit. And yet Gemma can't have a single conversation. She didn't even kiss Luca. Meanwhile, like Davide's hands are like all over Ekansu in all these places, and like she just didn't say anything. I was dumbfounded. Like, also, I hate that. I'm like, if you come to me with guns a-blazing, I'm gonna show up with guns to this fight too. Like, and Gemma didn't even say anything. I felt so bad. I was like, no, girl, fight back.
I know,
What?
I really wanted her to say something. It goes back to age. I think maybe she was intimidated. But yeah, what the fuck? I just thought it was so hypocritical to be like, "Oh, like, do you have anything you want to tell me? You didn't tell me you were into him, blah, blah, blah." And then run to Luke and be like, "Yeah, I don't think you have the balls, blah, blah, blah." And I don't, I think people are pretty split down the middle in terms of whose side they're on. But I just couldn't help, like, I was kind of on Luca's side for that because I was like, I mean, apparently everybody except for the public knew that Luca was into Gemma. Even India was like, I don't get why Davide is mad. Like, we all knew he's into Gemma. And they had one conversation solidifying, like, okay, we're like gonna get to know each other. And maybe, like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe Luca would have gone to David and be like, yeah, like, I am getting to know Gemma, as he has done with Andrew in the past. Like, Andrew and him did have open
Right.
communication about talking to Tasha, um, even if it did get a little messy. But Luca did initiate that conversation, so I do think he would have initiated that conversation with Davida. So for Davida to get so mad, I was just like, you're a complete hypocrite, and clearly you just need your ego stroked like all the time. And the second someone seemingly goes against you, you just like you're you lose your lid, like you're an insane person.
I think I think Davide is a softie, and we just haven't seen that until the fact that he was actually passionate slash raging about something that he felt he was disrespected about. I want to talk just real quick about how during the recoupling ceremony, Davide's explanation on why he was choosing Ekin-Su, I felt for him a little bit. He was like, aside from her making me feel like I have the perfect body, which I do, she actually makes me feel like I'm more than that. And that kind of made me feel like, okay, I get it. Like he
Yeah.
has feelings and he just doesn't know how to express it in a healthy way. So yeah, his feelings were hurt and he gets it. And Gemma didn't say anything. Like he had to come and grab her. And I think instead of having that softened up tone, he kind of went with the more angry side. And as someone, I can relate to that because when I'm hurt, I think my anger tends to protect me more. So I might come out guns
Mhm.
blazing when I don't mean to.
Mhm.
I mean, it's taken a conscious effort not to do that anymore, but that was very much me. And I could kind of see myself in that way where I was like, yeah, no, he's hurt. He doesn't know how to express himself because he's hurt. So then he just becomes
Yeah.
angry. And then that's his way of
Yeah.
protecting himself. So who knows? But again, I think you brought this up. It was one of your tweets when you were live tweeting, like, Davide, you're almost 30. My man, you do not need to freak out about a 20-year-old. Like, you've got so many options. Ekin-Su is hot, dude, and
Yeah.
she's into you. Like,
I
all
feel
right,
like
go for someone your own
I
age.
didn't understand why. And I hear what you said. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
100% valid to feel hurt and to not always have a perfect reaction. Like, that is natural. It's gonna happen. It is what it is. And I did think it was a little funny when he was like, "I don't just have the perfect body," but people have kind of made a caricature of who Davida is
Mm-hmm.
as a person, and in the house, everyone's like, "He's a Greek god. He's a Greek god." And as annoying as it might be for him to be like, "I'm more than that," he is more than that.
Yeah, he
Um,
is.
and he deserves to be treated as such, even if he's quite boring. That's fine. He's still a person. All that being said, though, I just don't. I I can't say that he would have picked Gemma in the recoupling had he gone before Luca if he didn't feel threatened by Luca. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if there was no
Yes,
drama between
absolutely. I agree.
Luca and Davide, and there was no spark between Luca and Gemma. I think that Davita's head would have completely turned towards Ekansu. I think that they have more in common, even if I don't know how that she goes to the gym in the outside world, but they are the same age or similar in age. They kind of are both passionate. They're both very like global, international people, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just think that they're a much better match, and I think that he would have realized that if he wasn't so preoccupied with maybe his ego being hurt, um, and feeling like he got stabbed in the back, you know? So that's kind of why I'm like,
I
I
think
don't have as much sympathy for
mhm,
him.
the only thing, and then I'm gonna leave Davide and his little love triangle alone after
Hmm.
this, is his face when he was eating the breakfast that Ekansu made for him.
Yeah.
That's all you
That's
gotta know.
true.
That's
He
all you have to
loved that
see.
breakfast.
Ekansu won him over. He has said, he has made his intentions clear. He is looking for someone who likes to take care of her man. And I can't think of a better way to get to a man than through his stomach. And that is exactly what Ekansu did. She is
100%.
into what he likes to do, which is being in the gym. She's very strong. She's confident. She's gunning for him. And I I don't know if I know about the ego part. You're absolutely right about that, but I think he would have chosen Ekansu anyway because she has made him feel
Which is
like he's
so
more than just his
valid.
perfect body.
Yeah. I
So,
agree. I think she played, she came in hot. She's a little problematic, telling people that, like apparently Luca wasn't cuddling Paige and stepping on toes and all that. But I do think that
mhm,
she played the game smart. She didn't just come in and was like, I think you're hot. She came in, she made him food, she went to the gym with him. So she expressed interest in him more than just like outside his body. Um, yeah, they're a much better match. Um, I don't know how charismatic they are as a couple, and I could see them maybe getting kicked out when it comes to a public vote for like choosing your best or your favorite couple. But until
mm,
then, I do hope that they find a spark there, um, and travel the globe together. I mean, her job is cool. Did she say she was a Turkish actress and she plays a serial killer?
yeah,
That's
she
hella
is.
dope.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's cool. I think they both are a great match for one another, and I think we need to see more of them in a couple
Hmm.
setting. And I think they might win, not win the show, but like win the affection of the public, just because once we see how good of a match they actually are and like how wholesome they have the opportunity to be, then I think things will end up softening up. But I like them together. I'm here for it, and I really hope that they continue in the way that they are. And that's it on
Yeah.
that.
Well, so before we get into my personal favorite couple, we have to talk about Liam
Hmm.
just quickly. I mean, I feel so bad, but there isn't that much to say.
There's nothing much to say. We called it that he was not going to be there for the next
Yeah.
recoupling, or not next week. I feel really bad for him. I think that he kind of just gave up, which for me, like, I don't like quitter behavior, so I'm not here for it. But I did feel bad, and it was really sad to see that he didn't feel like he was at his best to proceed further, even though it only been 2 days. And I feel bad for him. I think really there would have been a girl that would have come in for him.
I think so
But the
too.
good thing is he definitely has girls waiting for him now.
So true.
So he's good. He's taken care of.
Yeah, again, it just sucks that he felt so low because he was with the ratio of girls to guys. He definitely knew that he was safe. Um and so he knew that there would be more opportunities to meet other girls, but I think for how many, 7 girls to be in the house and for not one of them to have even the slightest interest in him, um I think
Right.
that really must make you feel so shit. um and we didn't even see him, I don't know if this is the case, but we didn't even see him have like a girl friendship with anybody.
Mhm.
That could totally not be the case, and maybe when we catch up in Unseen Bits, we'll see that he actually did have a female friend in there. But I don't know if he didn't have any female friends and he was only like vibing with the guys and none of the girls like him, like that's not what Love Island's about. And he probably didn't
Right.
want to wait around just to be the next Dr. Alex, kind of, or Hugo, just kind of be a joke on TV that
Right.
people like pity, and send on dates knowing that the girls aren't gonna like him. It's just interesting because I feel like he had
Yeah,
more, he was like sweeter and maybe like more buff than Dr. Alex. Well, he's not sweeter than Dr. Alex. I don't know. It's just confusing.
there was no personality present for me. I feel like he was very unmemorable, and the fact that he's only going to be known for his departure, I think he did it right because yeah, you're right. I didn't see any dynamic with any of the girls. Like nobody cried.
Amber was sobbing.
Which,
What are you talking
in
about?
well, no, you know what I mean. Like nobody, like there wasn't like a group consensus
Oh,
cry. Like, do you remember when Amy left
yeah.
and like everybody was like shattered? I mean, it had
It had
been
been
a couple
4 weeks
weeks,
when
but
Amy left.
with
Yeah.
right, right. But I just think like, all right, Liam did a good move by leaving. I don't think that there was anything else left for him, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and that's just the way that life goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing aside from that. I wish him the best, and I hope his DMs are popping on Insta, which they definitely are. And then that's why we're happy to announce that next week Liam will be joining. No, I'm
I
just
would
kidding.
love if you did. We gotta get in on those
All
DMs
right, we gotta
ASAP.
go. We gotta get in the DMs for sure.
Okay,
We got
so
this.
our last couple is Amber and Dami, and
Hmm.
okay, I love them.
Dude, the forehead kiss, my knees
I lost
buckled.
my
That
mind.
was
I lost my mind. Absolutely, 100%. Honestly, the way to my heart, if I'm angry or I'm stressed or anything, like all I need my boyfriend to do is give me a little forehead kiss. I'm all set. And so I've watched that because their first kiss was so awkward, and I was like, oh God.
I
Like,
know. It was
I was
so
like, maybe
weird.
they're forcing it. Like, I can't tell. Like, whatever. But to see that really genuine moment where they're like not off, like going for a chat where they know
Mhm,
they're going to be recorded, it was just like a little
mhm,
personal moment where he just like kisses her on the head and everyone's like, "Aw." I melted. I think the both of them are great. I think they've both kind of opened up. They're definitely like a little more reserved. I think they like to watch from like the
mhm.
backgrounds and kind of like give advice and be in the mix, but like not be in the drama. Um,
She's definitely shy. She's more shy than he is,
yeah.
and I think it's so cute to see her getting like she's very vocal with the girls. She's a girl's
Mhm.
girl, but the fact that Dami makes her that kind of
Right.
shy, but she brings out a more confident side in him
Mhm.
is
It's
I
a
love that. I'm here for
perfect
it. I
mix.
love them
Yeah,
together. I love it. It's so cute. And they're going to be loyal to one
I hope
another
so. I
for a
really
while.
hope so.
For a
I think
while. I
so
really
too.
think that they
I
will. And
I just
they are
I'm
adorable.
nervous for Casa Amor because obviously, like we all get nervous, whatever about Casa Amor.
Hmm.
Um, it just is like it does feel a little early to like vote them mom and dad of the villa, but I did say I
Yes.
wanted a black mom and dad couple from like beginning to end of
Hmm.
Love Island to like actually be given the fucking opportunity to be in the final and have a fighting fucking chance. I'm like, this is what we deserve. This is what we need. They're so cute. And I better not see anybody lie and be like, actually, Tasha and Andrew are cuter because they are not. They are not cuter than
Nope.
Amber and Dami. I'm so
Nope.
excited to like see them develop. I really hope they last. They just
I want them to go on a
me
date this
too.
upcoming
Me
week
too.
because I would love to see how they interact outside of the villa where Amber actually has an opportunity to kind of speak about what she's thinking and how she's feeling about him away from everybody else. Because even after that kiss, I think Andrew, like, yelled or something, and Amber was so
Yeah.
embarrassed. She's
She's
shy. She
shy.
doesn't like showing PDA, and I
I
think that's
relate.
cute. And they've been holding hands around the villa, and I really think that they've blossomed into something that you and I at least were both like manifesting,
Yeah.
like foaming at the
Yeah.
mouth for, like super
And something
excited. And we finally have that,
I'm
which is
so happy
great.
about it. And something that Dami said that like really kind of like made me think like, oh, like we have a chance with them. Like they are like they might be in our final couple like lineup. They might make it to the end, whatever. Was when Dami was like, yeah, like this is going kind of faster than most of my relationships would at the inception, but I'm really happy with how it's going. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like he's not like
Let's
let's
fucking
fucking
go!
I was like, he's not intimidated by like just having a good connection with a woman and being like, okay, well, he doesn't like it doesn't seem to matter to him as much like that they have only known each other for 5 days, that it may be early days for them in terms of like how long they're going to be in the villa. Like none of that seems to bother him. He's just like, I like her and it's going really well. And I'm happy about it. Instead of other guys who'd be like, yeah, I'm still gonna leave the door open though, like whatever. And I really hope he doesn't prove me wrong
No,
or some shit like that. Like, I'm rooting for you, Dami.
I don't think he will. He couldn't even look at her when he was saying all the nice things about her.
No.
Remember during the
Yes.
recoupling, he was like, and the end of it was like, and I think she's really pretty. I'm choosing Amber.
So cute.
I thought that was the cutest thing. And the way that he's like looking down, he's like fidgeting. He's definitely shy. Like you can see the body language. He's definitely into her. And when Amber's name was called, the way she was like, like she didn't even like the girls didn't even like group together like hug her, and they knew
Yeah.
that they both were gonna choose one another. They were like, all right, great, this is like business as usual. Let's move on to like the next. It was so cute, and Amber, she was like, oh, that was a really nice speech, and Dami still was like so shy, riding the high of
Mm.
shyness by complimenting her in front of everybody who was there. So yes, I agree with you. I have high hopes. My standards have been set. I want all the couples to be acting this way.
Yeah.
Um, when they find their significant others. But yeah, Dami and Amber, they've won my heart. They've won the heart of the two Villa
Yes.
Birds here, your
Yes.
favorite hosts. But I'm excited to see how things are going to progress for them next
Yeah.
week.
So just a quick recap, I think we said it I think we said it at the end of every couple we've talked about who they picked at the recoupling, but just to recap, India and McKenna are coupled up at the end of this week. Amber and Dami are coupled up at the end of this week. Tasha and Andrew are coupled up at the end of this week. Gemma and Luca are coupled up at the end of this week. And Ekansu and Davide are coupled up at the end of this week, leaving Paige and Afia single. But they are both safe. And lo and behold, we have a new bombshell coming in. And his name is Jack O'Neill. I hope I'm pronouncing it right because it's spelled very French like.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is he just a bombshell, I think we said this before, but he is Gemma's ex. And for reasons Anika will explain right now, I do not like him.
Yes, so as we all know, Gemma is our baby of this season of Love Island UK. She is 19, and apparently she's been single for 1.5 years. So if we do a little quick math here, maybe around 17, right when she turned 18, we all of a sudden have an ex-boyfriend of hers coming into the villa. So one can naturally assume that she has had a bit of a fun roller coaster with said ex, because according to my understanding, he's definitely in his 20s. So, with that being said, we don't know if this is like a mini I don't want to say predator because that's not right, but just the age gap already, we can see that Gemma has in fact gone for older men, and I'm worried for her because we clearly know, or we have to know that it probably didn't end right, or else the audio snippet, she wouldn't have sound so
Yeah, she
threatened,
seemed
almost like she doesn't sound
she
good.
seemed
She's actually like
upset.
frazzled.
Yes. I am trying to. Okay, so he is
Yeah.
23. So we know that Gemma turned 19 in May. So a year and a half
Hmm.
ago, she would have been. A year and a half ago, she would have been probably
Yeah, she would have been around
17,
17 and a half.
definitely. I've just looked it up.
Yeah.
Jack O'Neill is 23. He just turned 23. So he would have been 21. Um,
Yeah. And a 21 and a 17-year-old, that's a pretty strange dynamic
Pretty bad
in
dynamic.
US standards. I'm not sure if in the UK that's something that's like frowned upon or
I have
questioned.
seen a lot of
Perhaps it's like a cultural
I have
difference.
seen a lot of Europeans defend age gaps, and uh, maybe stand behind legality as opposed to morality. But I will say, at least for
Hmm.
us, two American gals, um, personally, I don't think that it's an appropriate relationship to pursue a 17-year-old girl. And we don't even know how long they dated, okay? I think she
Exactly.
said her like okay, she said her last relationship was like a year and a half ago, but we don't know how long they dated. So
Mhm.
she could have actually been maybe
Right.
16 when they met and he could have been 20. But regardless, like for us, that would mean she's maybe a junior, maybe a sophomore in high school, going out with somebody who's about to graduate
In
college.
college, for sure.
So I don't think
Right.
that's appropriate at all. I don't like that Love Island is now bringing this dynamic into the villa. I mean, she's older and hopefully wiser now. Hopefully the relationship wasn't so bad that it's going to be triggering for her, but I just don't think that that's avoidable.
I mean, here's the thing though. We know that he's probably going to go for Paige because Paige and Gemma both look very
Yes,
similar.
they
They're
look
both,
so much alike.
white brunettes. Yes, and definitely, when you're dating someone, you have a type. I would like to say, and I think that her ex is probably going to choose Paige over
Mhm.
Afia, unfortunately. But I'm curious to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this briefly, but I feel like Luca might feel some type of
Mm.
way with Paige looking so happy with Gemma's ex, and I think that'll be
It's
interesting to see.
gonna,
It's either that
yeah,
or Gemma might reconsider
yes.
might reconsider the relationship with said ex. So let's see
It's
how
gonna
that
be a
unfolds.
really interesting square. I think you're 100% right. I think he's gonna gun straight for Paige. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, I say all of this, but I am like, I wish it was under slightly like different circumstances because I am happy Love Island's bringing back exes. It's been a really long
Hmm.
time since they've done this. The last time they did this was season 4 in Casa Amor with Jack, which I thought was really
Hmm.
crazy because him and Danny were so strong, and Love Island was like, okay, let's fuck with the strongest couple, which they haven't done in years. They
Right.
usually just let the strongest couple like scrape by unscathed.
Write it out.
Um,
Right.
but the last time they brought a ex like very seriously into the mix to be with like the OG cast like in the villa, I feel like it might have been season 2. I want to say maybe season 3. I don't think it was season 3. Did you hear that fall? Anyways,
Mhm.
so it's been a really long time.
You guys, Val is in a haunted cabin right now in Woodstock. Let's all give her our thoughts and
I know.
prayers.
I actually have to go soon, so I'll just wrap it up really quick. But yeah, I am excited to see what the dynamic is of an ex being in the villa. I think it's gonna be really crazy, and I'm excited at the
I
level
agree
of
with you. It's
drama.
going to be on X Games mode. I'm super excited for it. I'm like already popping popcorn for when you and I are live tweeting. It'll be super fun to see. And let's I don't know. I'm hoping for the best though. I want Paige to stay. I hope that she's okay. I hope that she finds at least some entertainment out of Jacques, and we'll see from there. You heard it here first, but we're also not surprised. We definitely think Afia is going to go home. She will not be here by the time we load next Saturday.
Not at
So,
all, and not at all. But Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So, you know, that brings us to the end of this week's Villa Birds. Thank you, everybody, for being here, chatting with us about all the happenings in the villa. I'm so excited to see what happens next week. I think we already have a pretty good main cast, and I think the drama for
Hmm.
this week was pretty good. I mean, it's definitely not like a week 4 level of drama, but
Nope.
for first week, I think this is our best first week since season 5. Definitely better than season 6
I
and
agree.
7. Um yeah,
Yes.
100%. So, while no, cut that really quick. Just really
Okay.
quick. So,
All right. What are you gonna say?
in the meantime, until we see each other again, all of us here on Villa Birds,
Yes.
you can catch us on the social media, guys, okay? I know I say this every week, but I have to repeat it. I say it at the top of the episode, and I have to say it at the bottom of the episode, okay? We only see each other on Spotify and on podcast platforms twice a week, but you can find us other places. For example, you can find us on Instagram where we post clips from our podcast, we update our stories, we have polls, we chat, whatever. That would be at Little Birds. We also are on TikTok. I'm super committed to recapping every day in the Love Island villa. That is also at Villa Birds. So if you just so happen to miss an episode of Love Island and you need a quick recap because you're not around a TV or a computer, head over to our TikTok on your mobile devices. Come on, you can do that anywhere. And lastly, we're on Twitter and we fucking live stream or live tweet on Twitter for every episode. So if you need a friend to turn to be like, can you believe that even happened? And you have none, no offense to you, you can just meet up with us on Twitter and we'll be talking about Love Island right when it's happening. And that is at Villa Birds Pod. Okay? Okay, go follow us.
Yes, and with that, we are crushing it on Twitter. We are crushing it, or I guess Val is crushing it on TikTok. And we are both on Insta. Give us a follow. We are growing. We are excited to keep talking. Val mentioned this before, but we are hooked on this season of Love Island, you guys. So we would love to hear your opinions. Slide into our DMs, except if you're random porn accounts, please don't. But with that, thank you and
Thank
goodbye.
you